Okay. Okay, so let's begin by setting sacred space, which will help us to feel more grounded and more connected. Setting sacred space by connecting to the sacred heart using the breath. The sacred heart that is connecting us with every human being, every spirit being in this universe, in Mother Earth, allowing that connection to be our anchor throughout today. As we do this transmission with the guidance of our higher light guides, our higher light ancestors, of whom we call them here from all the directions of the earth, calling in our ancestors of blood and bones, our ancestors of the land, this beautiful land of Africa, our ancestors of the stars and the cosmic, and all the other beings coming here to support us of love and light and healing, calling in also the support of our spirit animals, the support of spirit deities, and the support of intergalactic beings. We're here also for the law of one, the law of love, unconditional love, the law of Ubuntu, which you are here to practice with the summit, with this transmission that we're going to have afterwards. And we also call in our higher selves, our I am presence, so that they are the anchor that we are using to channel in the message of today, the transmission of today. And just allowing that energy to move through us, that energy to guide us and support us throughout this transmission. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Okay. Tokoza Makhulu, how are you feeling?
I am well, and you?
I'm good. I'm so excited for today's conversation. We are halfway there, but every day for me it's like, oh my God, I cannot wait to jump in. So today we're talking the Ascension Path in African spirituality, and our guide is Makhulu Thambolenyoka. I hope that's the proper way to say it. Who is an ancestral teacher, a sangoma, a gobela, metaphysical teacher, a filmmaker, and writer, and the founder of Aspire Healing. Yes. And Badimu TV, or one of the founding members of Badimu TV, which is on YouTube. You should check it out later today. Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
I love
also
your
the
title.
teacher for a living spiritual temple.
Oh yes, living spiritual temple. Yes, I knew I was forgetting another one. So amazing the work that you've been doing in all these different spaces in Aspire, Healing, in the Living Temple, and in Badimu TV. But let's backtrack a bit and take us back to the beginning of your journey within African spirituality, within the spiritual path.
Okay, thank you for allowing me in your show. I could say it's been a long journey. It started in 2004 when I first became a sangoma. And how I get to understand spirituality, it was one after in my path when I just had questions. I started asking things like, what happens after being a sangoma? I felt like there was something bigger than what I was doing. Not knowing that asking that particular question wasn't an awakening. That is when I started being aware of something bigger than what I was doing. And because I used to experience a lot of emotional roller coaster out of nowhere, nothing making me upset, but out of nowhere, I'll just become depressed. And when I asked my teacher and say, why am I feeling this way? What does it mean? And she would say, no, what you need to do, you just need to pray and partha. I mean, I've been doing that in my journey. I parthaed and I prayed. I even brought white candles, but the feeling kept on being there. And I kept on asking this when I was sitting alone. I would say, but if I'm depressed as a healer, then who heals me? That's when I realized that there's something more than what I was doing. Because in the journey, we are not taught how to balance the energies that are within. We are only told to be strong. We're only told what is it that you're going to get out of being in the training. So that is how I started my journey. And I started seeing like different beings. And when I asked, they'd say, no, those things are wrong. It's either it's evil spirits. You're not supposed to see strange beings. You must only see your ancestors. But afterwards, that's when I started doing my own researches. And I realized that there's a spirituality path. That's when I started doing my spiritual practice. It was back in 2010. So that is when I started seeing that there was something bigger than what I was doing. Now, back in 2010, then that's when I started knowing about meditation, the chakras, and why are we supposed to do meditations? How does it help you as a Sangoma? But another thing that was missing was that why does it become two separate things? If we're dealing with energy, then why are they becoming two separate teachings? Then that's when I started getting all the revelations from my dreams. That was in 2012. That's when I was told that I need to be a teacher and grow my spirituality. And that's when I knew how to answer questions of who am I, purpose, where do I come from. When I realized that I actually connect to the cosmos, that is the reason why we always have to do spirituality and also your African spirituality, because there you deal with ancestors, and I also had a gift from the sky. So I realized I'm not the only one who has that, but it would make sense on how I could explain to people. But it took me quite a long time to actually understand this, the experience of understanding how to put the two together. It was quite challenging because a lot of assignments you get from your own spiritual beings. Nobody will just come and tell you this is how it works. And then I became a Gobela in that year from 2012. And I used to blame myself when my children would fail in their path, because I would say, but I give them all the teachings that I never had. Why can't they understand? Until I realized that the only thing that I can do is to teach. But how a person is initiated is not entirely up to me. Everyone is initiated by their own guides. Whatever they go through, whatever a person goes through, is their own initiation process. Because I also failed in my own path and I had to go back and realize that I actually failed this particular life lesson. And until I had to understand and master it, that's when I was able to get to the next level. So that's when we established the Living Spiritual Temple. And then that is when we were told it's actually a temple where you must teach spirituality. You need to teach people how to find themselves, how to actually connect to their higher purpose. Because at the end of the day, you have to start with the roots. The people you'll be getting will always be, they always have to start with being Sangomas. You cannot just have students who just want only for their spiritual training. So it means you need to teach both sides of the gift. And then that's when we started the Badimu TV, because whether I have a prophet or I have a Nguni energy or Endau, they're all Badimu. So it doesn't matter how you want to put it. The only thing is that we always refer to the Eastern philosophies because they make things to have sense. They put things in perspective so that we can understand from point A to point B. This is how you're going to go on your path. but it doesn't mean it belongs to them. They help us to put things into perspective. But it makes sense when we speak in our own language. Like, for instance, when you say, what is a chakra? If you can understand that it's an energy center, a place where energy is located, then you can understand it easier than just only cramming that it's a chakra, you have to breathe in and out, you must cleanse it. Those are the things that we try to clarify in our teachings, that nothing is separate. They actually connect to each other because both is the two energies. It's your feminine energy and your masculine energy. So in your ancestral path, you actually deal more with your feminine energy on how to actually balance your karma, because we have past lives. We always come with reincarnation. And those energies that are stuck within our genes are the ones that will just come out of nowhere and makes you feel so depressed, makes you feel like you're longing for something that's not there. So those are the things that we teach.
Mm.
Are we still there?
Yes, yes, we're here. I'm listening. I'm listening.
Because I keep saying, yes.
Yes. Okay. It's so interesting because my journey was the opposite, which is I started first with the cosmic, being aware of the cosmic energies and being on that path first from like my profession, psychology. But even before I finished psychology, I was always more open to like I had an awareness of past lives. I had those memories coming to me earlier before any initiation. So I have all this cosmic understanding and experiences and so on. And then what happened was then I went to like then I came to African spirituality and our traditional processes. And I definitely struggled because I was coming from this big top cosmic universal understanding of things and then coming into our African spirituality and trying to find my footing because it felt like it was like a top down type of process for me. And I didn't have any guidance and on why my journey first was like that and why I think the problem for me was trying to understand this cosmic energies from an African perspective and trying to find the words for chakras, the words for the Akashic records, if there are any in African spirituality, or at least the ideologies within African spirituality, because these are universal truths. You know, they are universal truths. They exist in every culture. So then I started my own journey of trying to map, oh, this is what we mean, or this is how it looks like in Africa. This is the word for that. And it's just been more of like a personal project and a personal archiving. But I'm definitely so excited to have this conversation. And just like from following you on Facebook and the work that you're doing, it's been really helping to understand why this is this way and what do we call this, and you know, so and I find that the words are there, like what we see in the universal truth you can always find it in African spirituality, or at least understand it from that perspective, which is why I'm so happy for the work that you're doing with Wedding Room TV and the Living Temple as well, right? So may we talk about that, about how the cosmic actually fits into the African spirituality, or at least how we can understand it from our tradition and our indigenous knowledge.
Okay, let's go. I'm going to Africanize. I'm just going to leave the big words of cosmic and everything because once we put such, we're going to separate the issue from Badibu. What normally happens is that if you have a gift from the sky and you have a gift from the soil, so you are actually ruled by the sun and the moon, and now you have the earth as your ancestors. So normally what happens is that when we say Istunya, because Istunya is got they all come with different colors, the rainbow colors. That shows you that it's actually the energy from the sky. So now Istunya definitely will connect to the sky, the cosmos, galaxies, you name them. The only thing that we need to understand is that Istunya will have to help you to elevate, to ascend to a light. Because if you do not ascend, then you will always have that karmic debt in you, meaning that everything that you incurred in your past lives, everything that you failed on, everything that ever made you to fail in your path, that will keep on being in your genes, in your blood cells. That's why you will always be advised to actually cleanse your blood, to meditate, so that the energy can start moving in freely. So why does it become so difficult for people to actually put the two together? Is because there is a difference. I mean, when we deal with spirituality and religion, those two are different. The minute you talk about religion, you really have to praise someone. But when you deal with spirituality, you actually going to reconnect to your divine call, which is, why are you here? Where are you coming from? What is your greater purpose? Because as souls, we came here to actually fulfill a certain purpose. But because we are on the earth plane, then we need to be part of an ancestral lineage. But as a soul, that's why mostly a person will always see, it's either I say, I had a vision, I just saw a starship. I had a vision, I was in another planet, and then there were these beings. It's just a reminder that you are coming here because you're coming from a certain galaxy. And wherever you're coming from, that is where your purpose is originating from. But because you are a healer on earth, on a physical plane, you're a healer. But on a spiritual plane, you become a warrior, you become a protector, you become a nurturer, you become a healer, depending on exactly what do you do. And all these things, you do not learn them in a short space of time. Everything will be an experience. Every little challenge that you are thrown on with will become your life lesson. And how you see that your beings are actually showing you that now it's time to get to the next step. It's when you start having dreams. Sometimes you'll have a dream where you're writing an exam. And to show that you're passing, sometimes people even have dreams where they say, I actually dreamt of my old high school or my old university, and I didn't finish the exam, or I got late for the exam. Those are the tests from the higher beings, from your cosmic guides, showing you that this is on your spiritual path. This is what we expect you to learn. These are the things that you start failing. And all of these things, they actually cause such a very negative feeling to people who are on the path. Some people are so delusional, thinking that being on the path, then you become untouchable. Mm-hmm. You learn nothing. You just become on the path, you become a warrior, you need to know how to fight. You need to know what does a soldier does or do when they go to war. You first go to training. Then you understand the rules of the game. Then you know what tools to use. Whatever assignment you're thrown into, you just don't back down.
Yes. I think that so many of us, we only know that we have our ancestral lineage, but we're not aware of our soul lineage and how the two meet, or at least how to work with the two. Because the two lineages are here to support you, as we're saying, to elevate your consciousness, to become a master of your reality, to fulfill the purpose, which can be the purpose or like your ancestral purpose, but also they can also be your soul purpose, right? So for me, the gap had always been that I understand the work at an ancestral level, and now there's also this big one, which is like my soul level, my soul purpose as well, and where I'm being called at a soul, yes, at a higher level, which is the soul essentially, right? So many the question is, why isn't this easily accessible? Or at least let me ask it this way. How does African spirituality throughout the time, how have we been teaching this? Or was it something that some people are aware of? Or yes, because for me, it has been a very personal journey. It has been where my ancestors initiated me in my ascension path and brought me to this understanding that I have, which has been very personal and very isolated and a little bit scary and like, oh my God, I might be losing my mind now, right? So, because I wasn't finding anyone talking about it. And I wasn't taught this by my teachers, or I haven't had anyone talking about this. But like now I realize it's there. There's so many people who know of this. So why is it this way? Why is there a gap?
Okay, I wouldn't know how in ancient days how our ancestors taught it. The only thing that I can help you to understand that we are all called differently. I can be a Sangoma, but I might have a higher calling. So is that one and the other one. So we're not having the same gifts. Some people are just Sangomas and they are here to work with the earth energy. They are here to only serve ancestors and understand that God is there and, master the healing of ancestral lineages only, and know all these different types of herbs, and it depends. But if you are called and then you have this gift of putting the two together, then nothing for you, you'll have a reference, because we spiritual people, we always meditate, because that's the only place where you can find the truth. That is the only place where you can find answers to questions that you ask, because as humans, we always forget to connect to a higher being. So they will always tell you how to teach. What does this mean? Because what I've realized is that the internet will give us an idea of something, but the minute you start practicing it, your answer and experience becomes totally different from what you read, because they're not meant to give you exact answers. So what I can say is that in Trinity, the pyramid, if we can understand that we have three energies that we're working with, the sun, the moon, and the earth, then we'll understand that nothing exists separately. It's a chain. Because from the earth energy, we get the ancestors, different types of energies like the Tao spirit, the Wuni, Kosi, Bugeda, and so forth. Because those are earth spirits that are where you are with your physical body. Those spirits, they know if you're looking for a job, how to do it, what kind of motive to use, so that you can manipulate whoever you'll be talking to. Those are earth energies. They can tell you, so and so will pose a danger to you. This is what's going to happen. Then when you talk about the moon spirit, that moon, it teaches you about magic, and they're connected to anything that is connected to the waters. You will always know further than what you were taught, because in our training it's very short, and it doesn't mean wherever you train, that's where the journey ends. Your guides, your ancestors will keep on growing you as you go along the path. That's why it's not a short distance thing. It's a path. It's a journey. So a journey you don't even know where you're going to get to. You might change your mind when you reach a certain destination. And you need to understand, what type of a journey are you taking? What type of a transport are you going to use? If I'm going to use the road, I'm going to use the air transport or water or rail. You need to understand first where you're going. What type of a transport mode are you going to use? Is it serviced? Will it reach where you're going? Along the path, is this path straight? There's no way you can see the end of any journey. And you get hills, you get speed humps, you get gravel roads, and then change of weather, stormy, rainy. That's what a path is all about. Because along the journey, you will definitely have an experience of whatever you come across. So once we can understand that the three, they're working together, we just need to understand, what does this one teach me? And even our dreams will show. This dream is coming from this type of an ancestor. This dream is coming from the cosmos. This dream is definitely coming from the water. You know, we have to see which dimension is the dream coming from. The problem with us, we listen to too much noise. We always rely on people's opinions. We don't even believe within our own ancestors, our own higher self. People don't even understand what is the higher self. It's a spirit that is higher than you as a human being. It's a spirit that understands the journey.
Yes. So many people call it, that different names to it, the higher self, the oversoul, the
monad,
the I am presence or I am template. Yes. So which is essentially the aspect of us that is still connected to source, to God energy. And so it is like a guide also, just like we have our ancestors guiding us on what we're doing here, along our family, along like the ancestors, along our family, along our ancestry and our traditions and where we come from, our roots. The higher self will be aware of your soul roots, your soul issues, and so on as well. Although the higher self can see all of them, including the ancestral parts of them as well. So in the Ascension Path, this is what I wanted to actually talk about, like how to, when you are in the Ascension Path and now you are aware that you are working with the cosmos energies as well as the ancestral energies, how can you balance them? Like learn how to work with this. They are a triad, but they have different purpose and different textures to it. How can one balance working with our ancestors and working with the higher self and spirit deities, the water deities, and so forth?
What we need to understand is that they all beings, they are all spirits, and they all are teaching us the same thing. Let's take, for instance, the dynamics of the path. What is it that you need to know how to balance? Like what happens with the rainbow colors, the color of the beads that we wear, the color of the sash, the robes that we wear, the color of these tunya robes. You know, all these colors, they all come to one. They all come from the rays of the sun. So the teaching is actually the same. So what we normally teach in our school, because of based on the 7 chakras or energy centers, the main thing is that what is ascension? Ascension is purely meaning to balance all your karmic energy. You need to be trapped. You need to make sure that you repair everything that actually takes you out of the path. Mostly you will see people, I'm going to talk more about our own way as African people of training. The Eastern one is an advanced teachings because you don't need to stay in anybody's house. The way being a Sangoma has not been designed by us. We found these methods being used. That's why if someone is called to be a Sangoma, they have to go to somebody else's house. Whether you can do it online, it definitely is not the ways of our ancestors. And why are they doing that? It's because they want you to learn all these 7 things that will make you to win in your path. They'll definitely want you to know in your root chakra, what is the function? You need to be grounded. You need to have strength. The second one, you need to know how to balance your passions or your feelings. The third one will teach about your enlightenment. You need to be wise, meaning don't take things personal anymore. When things happen in your life, you need to ask questions spiritually. Why does this happen? So you need to determine the cause and effect. Then the fourth one, that is the main one that makes most of the people feeling the path, is the heart. Because the heart is the center of everything. It's an entrance to anything in your life. The heart will always tell you about the unconditional love. But what is it, the unconditional love for what? If you're in your path, even when the days are dark, you still need to love your path. You cannot keep on saying, but so-and-so did this, and now I hate my ancestors. Because those are the things that come on a daily basis. Because people always forget that everything that you meet is going to be one of your life lessons. It doesn't matter if somebody robs you of your money. I mean, we've been there. We all come from such experiences. But luckily, we were able to move on from such pains because they meant to teach us something that we didn't even know. But at least with that, it's a testimony. You can tell the others that, I've done this and this is what worked for me. So I think you might try this, because you can teach with experience. You can read books to inspire you, but experience teaches more because someone has an emotion attached to it. Then we talk about the fifth chakra. It teaches more about the power, how to connect. I mean, when we talk about power, we talk about cosmic connection. Anything that gives energy, power. If somebody talks with a very low voice and they don't have power, you don't even trust that what they're saying, they know it. But the minute you talk outspokenly, people can listen and say, this one is very skillful. So that is the type of power we talk about. That even anything comes your way, you can say, I am that I am. Nothing will shake me. I'm a Sangoma. I believe in my ancestors. I don't care who says what. That is the type of power that we talk about. You don't need to justify your journey to anyone. You understand that you are called to do this. So if people can learn to stop trying to convince anyone why are they being Sangomas, then they've taken their power back from anything or anyone. Then the sixth one will teach you more about your psychic abilities, where to go when you want to connect to any source, any being. Whether there's an evil spirit around your area, you can see it. So that is entirely your responsibility to keep on elevating that. Then the last one will definitely deal more with the light. The more you connect to the light, the more you will ascend, because we all come or stuck in the third dimension where all our karmic debts are actually making us slaves. So ancestors, cosmic guides, God, they all teach us the seven main things. Those are the basics of the path. If you cannot master to be grounded no matter what, definitely it's going to block your root chakra. Definitely the energy from that chakra will not work for you. You feel weak, you feel intimidated. When you see other people thrive, you feel like, but why not me? Because of the first energy center, the one that has to make you be balanced to the rays of light, because those are the seven rays of light from the sun. And the sun is meant to help us to live, to find a purpose, to look forward to the next day, to be positive, to understand that we are called to fulfill a divine plan.
Yes, I love this so much. Now even my crown chakra is dancing with excitement, because this is so important in the journey. We spoke yesterday on why we are called, and we talked why particularly also it was like in Africa there's so many people called to be sangomas, to this spiritual path right now in the specific time of our history. And we talked about like really it is essentially about elevating consciousness for the human of African descent. Obviously this is happening also universally, but right now what's happening is every single one of us were being called to elevate consciousness. Sometimes it just becomes so scientific when you hear these words, but really it's shifting our awareness to higher awareness of other realms, other dimensions, other interpretations, perceptions, understandings of what we call our lives and what we call the human experience. So it's essentially that, like opening your eyes even more, your inner vision even more, so that you are able to see, as you were saying, everything around you, the energies around you, and also then be able to balance what needs to be balanced, to heal what needs to be healed. And so this is like essentially for me, this is why I do what I do. We need to become aware of the cosmic energies and the ancestral energies and our soul energies or soul aspects as well, so that we can actually ascend, become masters of our realities as well, essentially. Yes. So important, and it's so important to also be intentional with it, because I think, just referring back to what you shared in the beginning, that when we begin the path, we think, oh, now I've been initiated, my life is going to be beautiful, I'm done, it's going to be wonderful. And then it's like, no. There are all these other trials that come up, and those trials, as you're saying, is essentially to allow you to experience and clear out and heal and so forth, especially the karmic imbalances that we have. So many of us, I think, I imagine that some people understand ancestral traumas or ancestral or generational curses. May we also speak about karmic imbalances that might be happening in our lives that we need to clear when we're in this path, and why for those who are healers, they need to also do this work of clearing our karma.
You know, you actually touched a very important topic, because ancestral energies that we carry, they come with pain, because most of them were slaves, and that type of pain is still in our genes. So the minute we actually elevate pain, you know, there's always two things. It's either there's the light and there's the dark. The dark, you can actually say the deeper space or the underworld, because both of them are dark. But once the dark becomes negative, then it's just going to bring dead energy that lives within us. And that dead energy will definitely create any trauma that is not healed. That is why when people do energy healing, they will definitely try to help you to remove whatever that has been pain from all these years. And also, when you trace back the first time your soul came on earth, then you can see how many times you came and how many karmic deaths you have. So that is when you actually grow more into your spirituality, just sticking to basics, because whether you do your meditations in Tibet, or you do them with a psychic, or you do them from the internet, the basics are the same. You breathe in and out, cleanse your chakras, balance them, clear your aura. Whether somebody teaches you with their mouth or you read it or whatever, as long as you believe in whatever you're doing, definitely any energy that is within you will reveal itself. And higher beings, cosmic energies, they deal more with positivity. That's why it's very important to first balance and clear any negative energy. And every feeling we have, it's a good energy. We just need to know how to neutralize it, especially when you think about whoever betrayed you. Once you can understand it's part of the path, you can forgive them. So as long as we don't know as a healer, how can you heal others if you're not healed? That is the first thing. If you see a healer ranting and complaining, would you definitely go to such a healer? I don't think so. Because it means this person is going through their own things. But if you're a healer and you know how to heal yourself before you can look after other people, then you're just going to, you're just going to be this brilliant light. You will radiate, because you will understand that your calling is to heal others, and then you must heal yourself. So all the traumas from our lineage, they are important, that we need to know how to heal them, how to balance them, because it does not help to keep on, to glorify every pain that my ancestor went through. And I feel I'm trying to make it as it becomes my power form of being, you know, I'm a Sangoma, and, you know, whenever I do something, if my ancestor is very angry, you know, I can kill someone. Because some people do praise such things and they think it's good. Oh, I'm so powerful. No one can actually train me. But I'm sure if no one is supposed to train, you should not even bother to contact any healer, because you are trained by your own people. So if you don't balance our ancestral energies, we will definitely not ascend. We will definitely not be closer to the light. The chances are we might fail again and reincarnate, carry on with the same mistake. Because whether we like it or not, reincarnation is a negative thing. It shows you that you have to deal with all the problems that you struggled with before, and you have new ones. And that will definitely put you out of form.
Yes. Yes. Oh, so important. So we call it the whole thing of healing the self and healing our ancestral traumas, our childhood traumas, the experiences we had in this current lifetime, and all the other karmic traumas we've had in other lifetimes. We might call that just shadow work, healing your shadows, all these energies, these distortions, these painful experiences that you've had in your lifetime. And this, for me, I work a lot with this energies like shadow work and balancing all my clients. And I think that a lot of people are not aware of this, and why sometimes people, when they try to do like the law of attraction, positivity, they struggle with that, because it's like you are just like forcing something on something that is congested, that is very dense, and then it's very difficult to maintain that. And it's so important for one, healers to actually heal like that, the traumas, the many different traumas we have, the ancestral traumas, the emotional traumas from all of our lifetimes and from our ancestral paternal, maternal line as well. And it's not an easy and nice experience to heal the shadow. And
Not at all.
no,
not at all.
I've never met someone who enjoys it.
You can't even do that through the book. Believe me, you read from the book and then it just be an idea on how to do it. But you know, putting that in practice, it actually takes time. Because you'll always remember what made you upset. So and so did this to you. And you know, you want to remember from the book, oh, you know, they said I must affirm, I am alive, I am good, I am powerful. But does it work?
No.
You keep on remembering.
No.
So
yeah.
So it does take time. It does take time.
It takes time. I had a theory of why that doesn't work. I had it somewhere. It's when we understand that two types of energies, right, that we work with along the healing path. So there's the core energy that is essentially from the energy of our history, of our ancestry, of our soul, of all the karmic experiences we've had that create the core of who you are. And that core energy is what you use to move in the world and to perceive the world. And so if the core energy is filled up with a lot of pain, you perceive the world with those eyes, with that energy, right? And then we have transmission energy, and the transmission energy is essentially the energy we create, and we can create it to heal ourselves. So when you use meditation or affirmation, you are actually creating and shifting your core energy at that moment, and you can actually feel great with the affirmation, right? But it's never lifelong. It doesn't stay. You will feel great for that moment, but 2 hours later, you've totally lost that groundedness. And so a lot of people get stuck with just using transmission energy and thinking that is healing. These are tools. The transmission energies are the tools we can do to shift the core energy, but ultimately our energy is to heal the core. And when we speak from the core, when now you've removed the pain, you've shifted all the distortions, you're no longer seeing things from your trauma, you don't even have to always constantly affirm because you already feel confident. It's your state of being now, right? So this is like so important for I think this is some of the things that I've been finding missing. And a lot of people don't want to do shadow work because they're like, no, I'm just going to affirm and I'm gonna be okay, Joy. I'm going to to be well. Right?
Yeah, that's exactly how I understand Ascension Path, because if we are not healed and we don't know how to balance the feminine energy, like the moon spirit, then we'll definitely struggle in the path. We will always want to blame everyone for our failures. When something doesn't work out, we will always want to blame someone. But once you can understand that, every being that comes in your life, they are part of the process of teaching you something. You just have to remember. Because we always teach, I always mention this to the students and say, you know what, if you find it that somebody really makes you mad, it's actually the universe telling you that whatever that makes you mad from that person is what you need to master. It means it's something that you need to learn and master and fix it. It means this is who you are. So it's a mirror for you to change. Because they will always say, so and so likes doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and say, but it means that's who you are. You're just trying to ignore the mirror in front of your face. Yes. I don't know if it helps them. I always say that.
Yes, I call that sacred messengers. When someone comes and they're showing me and I'm like hurting, like, oh yeah, this is a sacred messenger that reminding me that I need to deal with this. So it's not about them. You can get mad, but that's like actually running away from seeing what's in the mirror, which is about you. It is a message from your guide saying, look, this is what we need to heal. We have not healed this. It's still active in you. Right? I want to, I'm opening up Q&A. So if you have any questions, any comments, you may begin writing in the Q&A box and we will continue with answering. Yeah, Makhulu will answer the questions that you have. What was the question that I had? Okay, so while everyone is typing, I wanted to ask. So yesterday we were talking primarily with the ancestors, and one of the questions people had was, what kind of symbols come up when you are working with ancestors? You know how you see snakes in your dreams and so on. Are there any symbolic things that someone might observe or notice within their body, within their dream state, that are opening them up to cosmic energies that are much more than ancestral energies?
What I can say is that normally when you see symbols, will definitely come from the cosmos. Ancestors, because they are on the earth and they mostly bound to the earth energy, definitely from anything that comes from the nature kingdom will definitely come through to you. It's either animals or anything that flies in the water or herbs, anything that will come from the nature kingdom. So symbols will definitely be from the higher beings. And also depending on which era where you're born from, then you can be able to see what type of ancient language is coming through to you, whether in dreams or visions or meditations. So according to what I've been experiencing or observing from the students and also my life, ancestors don't usually give us symbols. It's always the guides that give us.
Can you repeat that again? I didn't hear.
Ancestors normally will always give out anything that comes from the nature kingdom. They don't normally give out the symbols. It always comes from the guides. So let's say, for instance, when I started my path, we used to use a lot of religion to learn about spirituality. So normally when my guides would want to talk to me to a language that I can understand. They'll give me a verse in my dream. And when I look at the verse, when I read it, and I can understand what their message is. Now that we don't use the Bible anymore, now they're actually talking spiritual language, the way as it is, depending on what type of energy do I normally draw from. Then that's the language they will use.
Is that what university people call light language?
Can you repeat that?
I say, is that what people call light language?
Yes.
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 Okay. Yeah.
Definitely. Because you need to understand the light codes. But before you can work with the light, before you can actually see those beings teaching you about all these hidden languages, all of these hidden light codes, you need to heal first. You need to balance the energy. It needs to be neutralized so that you don't have to be too happy or too sad. Then you can be able to understand how the light works.
Yeah.
So that is part of the elevation. And they're the ones who will elevate you.
Yeah.
They'll always show you your dreams. They'll say, you need to observe your dreams, and you'll see how you are transitioning to your path.
Yes. There's a lot of the Ascension Path includes in the beginning working with the shadow and healing the shadow before, because the cosmic energies are quite intense. And I think that if you have not yet healed, they will be very, very scary and overwhelming, even beyond the so important to first heal and also shift your awareness. So it will be, yes, it will be an interesting if someone just like leaped into that already. Yes. So important for everyone to. I promote doing this shadow work, especially as healers. Like we need to heal so that we can become clearer vessels of the light and the divine, and so that we can actually reach ascension, master our reality, master our healing as well, and not be trapped in the karmic cycle, the karmic wheel as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So if someone is hearing this for the first time, they're just like, what can we give them in terms of like where to begin, so that they can begin that journey of ascension, or they can begin the ascension path? Because I think there are layers to the ascension path. How has been your experience with this path specifically? The layers.
Yes, it's always important to understand the dimensions of where is what. Because for you to use anything, you need to know. Let's say you want to go into your closet and you want to put on your clothes. If you want an underwear, you will know which drawer to go to. You want your socks, your shirt, your pants. So it's the same thing when you want to start the path of spirituality. The first thing you need to understand, where is this energy coming from? Where does this energy come from? What is energy? I mean, who gives out this energy? And how is this person distributing this energy so that when it comes to us, because it's heat, it doesn't burn us out. So you need to first understand who is the source of energy. We all know it's the divine being, which is God. Then you need to understand, how do you get to spirituality? The first thing you need to understand is that we have to practice meditation so that we can be able to balance your chakras, to align them, clear your aura, any auric body that is covering your body, so you can understand all these layers on whether it's the green flame or the green energy, what does it do? What function does it do to you? So that you can be able to understand how to work with it. Then once you can understand that everything comes from the same source, then everybody will understand what is that. The first thing you need to understand where does the energy come from.
Mm.
And then you can practice it, all the basics, how to meditate. Then we start teaching you about all these dimensions. Where is animals coming from? Where are ancestors based? Where type of beings that you see? Starships, anything that is in the sky, like the galaxies or the planets. You need to understand everything from the sky and the earth. Then you can know. And what is the moon? Faces of the moon. That is pure spirituality in broad. And when you look at it, when you talk about energy, ancestors are included.
Mm. Yes.
Because they're also energy.
Mm. Yes. So the same thing. They're just same thing, just in different frequencies, vibration, dimensions, but all doing the same work of helping human race to remember that we are one, and we are the unconditional love. It is what we're here to do, practicing unconditional love. Essentially, that is what we are trying to master. It's unconditional love. And we
But that's the difficult one. That is the most difficult thing you can do.
Yes.
To have unconditional love.
Yes. I just forgot the name, but someone asked on how religion, like how you can be on the ancestral path and the ascension path and still work with religion, or specifically Jesus Christ, and how that fits in to the journey that we're in within African spirituality, right? May we explore that?
That is a very political question.
It
Because if you want to talk about ancestors and you talk about Jesus, those two don't mix. It's oil and water. It definitely doesn't mix. Because if you look at God from the Bible, it's a jealous God. It's a jealous God. He doesn't want to be mixed with anything. So definitely, if you do ancestral veneration, you just fall out of the way, because you cannot talk to ancestors while praising Jesus. Those two energies, they definitely clash. That is why when you're a Sangoma, you get persecutions from the Christians. When they see a Sangoma, they see a demon worshiper. So unfortunately, we have Istunya. Most of the spirits, they were also colonized. That's why when they come to you, they'll come with a cape with a cross. So what you can do if you are advanced, you understand that religion actually suppresses ancestors. You can just leave at the cross, because that sign on its own, it crosses the whole thing. Anything that has to do with you connecting to the source. So religion and ancestors, they don't work together. It just becomes a clash on its own, because the deity of religion, of Christianity, does not want to be mixed. Is a jealous God. That's why we were told by the beings that we cannot mix religion and ancestors. You need to do spirituality. Leave religion out. And ever since we did that, things have made sense. There's a huge shift. We can see it clearly now.
Yes. I like playing what do they call it? The devil's advocate. Just trying to see things from a different perspective. So the current theory or philosophy that I work with, I don't practice religion, but I understand, or I have expanded my understanding of religion. And for if you understand it as we have different names for it. So we have ancestors, we have cosmic energies, guides that we're talking about, and we have ascended masters, and we have archangels, which are usually in religion as well. If we looked at all of them as different support for the human race, and you could access whichever one you feel you resonate with, and for the understanding that I've gotten to grow up to work with around Jesus Christ was to perceive him as a teacher who was actually on the Ascension Path and has mastered this unconditional love. And if you perceive that as with unconditional love, it is to love all beings, right? And to understand that all of us were in the same journey, we're all returning back to love, to the source, and so forth. And if you understood that as just the different guides, if you like, for me, I still see that you can believe in ancestors because these are your blood and your land energies and earth energies, and then you can have the ascended masters, Yeshua, Jesus Christ, as a teacher who's teaching the Christian faith, right? It's like I say, it's a political thing, but for the gentleman who wanted to know, is it possible for me to work with religion and ancestors? Religion, there is where, especially organized religion, where it can limit you for sure, where at some level it will contradict because it, like I said, it says God doesn't allow that. But
yeah,
if you opened and looked at the Bible from a different perspective as a book of magic, a book of mysticism, a book of spell, and tried to look at the messages from a bigger, broader, expansive understanding, it is possible. But it's going to be, like you're saying, still a personal journey. You would still not fit into organized religion. So you might not be welcomed in the church. But if you feel you resonate with the energies of Jesus Christ, the man, you can still find ways to work with that. But just, yeah, it will be, you will not be allowed to share that in the church. Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, it's just going to clash because whether we like it or not, Christianity, you only have to worship God, and Jesus is the way. He's the way to the Father. There's no any other way to ascend. That is Christianity, that is religion. But in spirituality, you find yourself, you connect to your higher self. There is no third party. The galaxy where you come from, they are the teachers, depending also on which era you were born in. What was your spirit or your soul used to practice in ancient days? Then you'll see different teachers coming into you. If you used to do also Buddhism or used to practice Kemet spirituality, you'll have both sides. But you cannot mix religion, Christianity, with ancestral veneration. It's definitely not going to work. And before Christianity, ancestors were spiritual. Ancestors knew how to connect to the sky. We didn't need a certain ascended master from Christianity to tell us they are the only way, but we used to get the way to the source without the saint, as they call him. So unfortunately, we just need to understand departments. If you look at how the logos are, then you'll understand the archetypes. Where does these deities that formed religion are based? They are not the highest God. There is this God that is infinite. No one accesses that dimension. And that is where we go when you start practicing your spirituality. But you need to understand that you need to heal all your karmic energies. You need to understand what the path is teaching you. You need to understand what does the zodiac signs are bringing to you. Each time the constellation comes out, what is it that is trying to connect to you with? That is what spirituality is all about. Finding yourself. Getting in contact with your true being. And that is a being, yes, that is a being that is connected to the stars. Without anyone saying they are the way. The way is the God within you. So unfortunately, I did spirituality with the Bible for a very quite a long time. And I used to be so confused because it was a clash. Until a being told me, you cannot mix religion with ancestors. It will not work. That God does not allow it. Because I got confused. Because my previous teacher uses the religion. I thought that's the way. And I realized, no, that's not the way. Because I was surprised when I used to see pyramids in my journey when I was training. And I would say, what is this? I dreamt of some pyramids from Egypt. What does it mean? And she said, no, you cannot dream such things. And I was like, what is that? What do you mean? So your true being will always come out. It will always come out in dreams. But it depends on who will explain what you saw. Because misinformation will definitely throw you out of your path. But religion and ancestors, you can mix them. If you mix them, your path becomes really, really it becomes a blockage. You will see a lot of stop signs, red robots in everywhere you want to go, because you need to understand you just have to use one source. That is God and Jesus Christ, because they say He's coming back.
Yeah. We do have a question on this topic itself. Just so that you can expand a little bit. I can't see the name of who's asking for some reason. But Anonymous is asking just to explain what might be the reason why some people who practice Ubungoma and Ubu Purafite, why some of them, they preach and they pray to Jesus and they also practice African spirituality. How do they do that? How do they navigate that? From what in the past, how was,
like I said, from the beginning, I said, it's Tunya, they are part of Badimo. It's an ancestor, that's Tunya. And
may I ask for the other people who are coming from other countries, what is Tunya?
Oh, okay. How am I gonna say this? It's a prophetic spirit.
Okay.
We always have an ancestor, Idlozi, and then we have a prophetic spirit. So that prophetic spirit, okay, I will talk more about people who are in Africa, because colonization, we experienced it even from ancient days. Like if I can remember, I don't know when Christians came here, but I can remember when Jan van Beek came to South Africa. That was 1852. That we won't forget. So if there was the prophetic spirit or Istunya, they will normally be part of the colonization. That's why they'll always be bound to a religious church. You'll see a person. And unfortunately, the saddest part is that these prophetic spirits, they come with karma, because they all come with, pain. Even the hymns that we were given to sing, they are not positive. Like if you look at, what is that song that I normally talk about? No, there's this song that's so depressing. I even forgot it. I even forgot the hymns. I can't even mention one. But all I'm saying, is that the prophetic spirits are also part of the colonization, where we were given the Bible and forgetting about our culture. So unfortunately, that person, when they go to do their Sangoma training and they find a teacher that is also doing the same thing, they'll definitely do that. I also fell into that as well until I was given, because I made sure I grew my spiritual practice until a divine being came up and told me, you cannot do that. Jehovah, he even said, Jehovah does not allow that. You cannot mix ancestors and him. He is a jealous God. So, unfortunately, I cannot speak on other people's behalf, but I can just share my observation on what causes a clash. When most of us, as Sangomas, we always come with Bible and praising Jesus, and tomorrow we say ancestors, because that's what we are taught. That's what we know. That's what the majority of Black people know. If they say, oh, you're saying you practicing spirituality, or you're doing moya, they expect you to say in a church form, a Bible, a priest, the same format, whether it's apostolic or Shembe, as long as, ZCC, there's many ways how Black people worship Jesus Christ and God. But it all comes to the same thing, reading the same book. And they try to say, our ancestors used to do this, so that's why we also need to do it, only to realize that they are actually entangled. We just need to release that.
So it's a result of colonization.
It is a result of that. That's Tunya will come out with that hymn that we will always say, Sedila Kamponi Setetila, or this song that they like saying, and when they sing it, they start crying. And like when you start crying, you're actually vibrating a negative energy. And what's going to happen to you?
Yes.
We don't elevate.
The path of ascension is
the path of ascension is affected.
Yeah, yes. the negative energies and balance. Yes.
Because if you look at everyone who's in this path, most of them, they cry. When you ask them, how was your path? I don't want to talk about it. So it means people are not healing. So if we can learn how to heal and grow stronger than where we are, I'm sure we can be better healers.
And would that be the reason why this path is difficult? Is it because there is this mixture of colonization, like colonized ideologies mixing up with our ancient practices, traditional practices, or what else?
I think that is the reason, because it's a complete clash. I mean, you cannot use Vodacom and Cell C on one SIM card. There's no way you get a connection. It doesn't work. We need to understand that for a tree to grow and bear fruit, that has seeds, and those seeds need to be replanted. The same seed that did plant the tree has to make sure that it grows. So it's a chain. Spirituality is a chain. If we start with our Sangoma training, it's part of the seeds. And definitely we will grow into our prophetic spirit, which is going to deal more with the sun energy. And definitely we will grow. And that tree will bear fruit and will bring out seeds again, so that our descendants can understand what is this path, so that we can stop vibrating negative energy all the time. All the time we always talk about pain. We never talk about praises. We keep on talking about pain. We share pain, we don't share power. So the opposite of power, what does it mean? It's weakness. So we become weaker and weaker.
Powerless. We definitely become more powerless.
Become very. Hence, you will see some people will think their ancestors are not working. They feel like this journey is dysfunctional. And then they start saying, let me go and find a foreign spirit that will enhance my practice, because we don't know how to connect to our own power. We vibrate wrong energies in us. We don't heal our ancestors. We don't remove them from that chain of slavery.
Yes, slavery consciousness,
Yes.
scarcity consciousness, and inferiority consciousness is our big problems as African people.
Yes.
And until we recognize it, and looking at our history in the past 500 years, specific, even beyond, but especially the last 500 years, we cannot deny that they are affecting us today, and that we can't, like you're saying, we can't try to build new foundations on top of that. That history, that oppression on top of the pain. It's not going to work. Like, it will take us a little somewhere, but eventually, this is why I think it feels like the journey is like up and down, up and down. One moment you're on a high, you are feeling connected to the ancestors. Then next moment you are in deep abyss, depression, and so on, because we are building on top of something, like you are saying, that is contaminated, that is confusing even for us, and so we don't know how to channel from that confused heap of our history, of our pain as Black people. Yeah. So my clients that I work with, they're always so shocked. I'm like, yes, we're going to talk about slavery consciousness today. They're like, Joy, we think we're going to talk about politics. Why? It's like, it's part of the healing. We have to heal this consciousness, because it genuinely becomes a big obstruction in our healing path. If you don't recognize that you actually are carrying slavery DNA and it's active within you, inferiority DNA, and you often feel inferior, and we are addicted to scarcity because of our history, to pain, like they're saying, because of our history. And it's so sad, because we're always in a state of that powerlessness that you're talking about. And hence the violence in our communities, hence the pains, why they keep just happening over and over again, because of this state of powerlessness.
Yes, it becomes a cycle. It's a cycle of the same thing. There is no growth.
Wow. This is so important. This is important and a little heavy and intense, but very necessary work to be done. We need more conversations like this. Yes. Okay, so I think that is all around the questions that we have. So for Anonymous, on day 7, we're actually going to go deeper into colonization. So you may come back again for that session to learn more on how colonization has affected African spirituality and how we can decolonize. We need to decolonize here. Yes. Okay, so any last words for someone who's here and their mind just got shifted and they're just like, okay, I hear you, Makhulu. Okay, where must I go? How can I get in contact with you also? Or how can, what are the ways that I can begin with?
Okay, for contacting me on Facebook, on Facebook I'm Thambo Healing, and Instagram I'm Sangoma Thambo Healing. And we also have a page that is called Aspire Healing. Our temple is called Living Temple of Metaphysics. So, and we also have a YouTube channel. You can keep on watching, because we keep on loading videos every week. Yes, we're trying to help people to understand the path, and also to make sure that we actually show the good side of being a Sangoma, because we've been negatively represented all the time. Like every time there's a Sangoma issue, Sangoma story, anyway in the mainstream media, it's all about doing bad to the community or the students or patients. So we came up with this thing that we know it's not that we are always doing bad. You know, we're still part of the community, and most of us, we still work with these people. And it's time we start sharing good stories where people can see that, you know, it's not all that bad. It's not everybody that is actually saying these people, they are evil, they're just after money and all that. And all I can say is that whoever that is on the path, or they want to be on the path, or they are practicing spirituality, please make sure that you heal all these karmic debts that you have inside of you, your past trauma, your pains. You need to go back to your heart chakra all the time when you meditate. Remember every pain, everything that has ever made you feel like, you know, you don't want to exist anymore in the world, and try to heal that, because that is the starting point, so that you can see and be able to connect to the greater being, which is you, that is called by the divine sources, or your divine beings, your ancestors. They are part of your path. They want to guide you to survive on the earth plane, on how to live with other humans. And your cosmic energies, your cosmic spirits, they are there to actually teach you more about how the sky works, how the constellations connect to you, and how you can utilize them for you to be fully connected and understand your surroundings, so that you can live your purpose and fulfill what you came here to do. Because once you will fail this, and you have to reincarnate again, because we don't automatically reincarnate into this earth. You have to earn your place again to come back and want someone to actually take the path that you failed on.
Mm.
Then we can be able to understand the wise teachers, Buddhas, the Jesus Christ, and the Krishnas, trying to teach people what is this path of light all about.
Mm. Yes.
Yes.
Amazing. So let me just get the Facebook page for your temple again. I was just sending this to everyone. And then, what is the name?
It's and living temple of metaphysics.
Okay, metaphysics. Okay, yes, I think that's yes. Okay. Yes. Oh, this is so good. This is like potent and profound wisdom. Thank you so much for just coming here and sharing with us this journey. It's really been expansive, especially for everyone who's on the African spirituality path, or who's on very specifically the spiritual path, which is an inner journey, as you've been telling us, which is going within, connecting from within, connecting with the power within you already. It is a very personal journey. And
Yes.
for me, I'm so excited, because this is part of my work. And
Yes.
the Ascension Path, activating light workers to the Ascension Path, to awakening to our higher self is my path, it's my work. So I've been having so much fun, and I'm so grateful for your years and for your wisdom and for the work that you are doing in the many platforms that you have. It's so necessary, it's so important. And from Busisiwe, she's saying this was very enlightening for her. She is thanking you, thank you from Busisiwe for tonight. It's a Saturday night, but we're here doing this work. And I thank you for joining us today, and I thank everyone who joined us today on this call. This will also come back. You can come and rewatch this later on YouTube. So we're going to post this, because I know what we were saying was so profound that you might need to re-listen again to really understand what we're talking about. But if you are here, you are definitely called to begin also your ascension path. It's not a coincidence that you are here tonight.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a good night, everyone. Love and blessings.
Bye-bye.
Bye.